We are doing a reading today about 3 soul lessons that you agreed to before incarnating on Earth that you may have forgotten about. You may certainly treat this like a pick a card reading. I will have timestamps in the description box and in the pinned comment. Or you may listen to all 3 of these lessons. But before I get into the reading, I do want to talk a little bit about the background for this reading and where I'm coming from when I'm asking about 3 soul lessons that you agreed to prior to your incarnation. So you see, I am a big fan of consciousness studies, okay? And so one of the heavily influences on me are the books of Michael Newton. You can see the cover of his Journey of Souls here. This is about studies that have been done by Michael Newton and his peers in investigating what happens between lives by putting people under hypnosis and kind of asking them about what they experience or what they connect to. So I've personally read Journey of Souls. I've also read Destiny of Souls, which is kind of a continuation of the first book with additional case studies being examined. And I've read his book, Wisdom of Souls. So more about different soul lessons and more case studies where they're talking to people about the life that they experienced between lives. Now, you may already be familiar with the works of Dolores Cannon, such as The 3 Waves of Volunteers and The New Earth, which kind of gets into past lives and life between life hypnosis as well. And her book, Between Death and Life, that deals with this topic too. So before you sort of write me off as a bunch of hogwash and like hooey, I do want you to know there's a lot of people actually studying this topic. This is a picture of the website from the Division of Perceptual Studies at the University of Virginia. This is a whole department that looks into these kinds of things. One of their areas of research includes children who remember previous lives and really kind of investigating it. They actually do have some really intriguing studies where they have been able to connect a child's past life to an actual physical person that existed. And they found their name, they found like where they lived, they found exactly who they were and where they were. Also, they collect research on near-death experiences and what happens when someone does seem to die and then return. This does specifically get into lives between lives type of soul contracts. And then, of course, they do a lot of research on just the neuroscience of psi being psychic phenomenon, basically things like telekinesis, things like tuning into the Akashic records, things like tarot readings and how those work. And you've got altered states of consciousness as a division that they study as well. So this can be anything from like out-of-body experiences to potentially the use of psychedelic enhancers. The University of Arizona also has a Center of Consciousness Studies, and they actually are the host of one of the main conferences on this subject, attended by people who are much, much, much smarter than me in a variety of disciplines. And that is the Science of Consciousness Conference that's been happening for quite some time now. You can see in 1994, that was the very first conference that people kind of came together. The topics do span across disciplines: neuroscience, philosophy, psychology, biology, quantum physics, meditation, altered states, machine consciousness, culture, and experiential phenomenology. Sorry. So I show you all this to kind of say, the thinking in all of this research is that before we actually come to Earth as a soul or come into manifestation as a soul in a physical being, we actually kind of develop goals for ourselves in the other realm that we hope to attain, lessons we hope to learn as a materialized version of us. So that's what we're asking about today. What lessons did we come here for as a collective that we might have kind of forgotten? All right, so first, Spirit wants us to remember, trust the timing, all right? I will do a deep dive into this card here just in a moment, and just in case you do want to approach this like a pick a card reading, you do not have to, though. You can just stay for the whole thing. You are more than welcome. Second card we got, different deck, is Dolphin Codes. So this is all about being playful and joyful and enjoying life. And the last card we got with my favorite number here, the Hag of Wildfire. All right, so if you are approaching this like a pick a card reading and you would like to pause the video right now to make an intuitive choice, please do so at this point in time. Before we get into this portion of the reading, I just want to remind you to please subscribe to the channel if you find this reading helpful at all. It's a huge help to this channel's growth. All right, so we're starting off with this first soul lesson. Trust the timing. Trust the wave you came in on. Time is not running out. So this is all about surrender, okay? This is about feeling comfortable in your own skin, trusting that things are going to work out in their own time, that anything that is for you will not pass you by. This card does come from my lovely Starseed Oracle deck, so if that's something that intrigues you. So this card is all about feeling like there's this sense of time just running out. Like you're worrying you're going to miss your moment. And this is a card to remind you, no, you can't miss your moment. There's no way to do that. You're never too late and you're never too old. So this is about trusting in the universe, trusting in spirit, trusting in divine timing, knowing that the tides of your life are magnificently orchestrated to come in and out in perfect unison. So don't race ahead to go after a wave that wasn't meant for you anyway. So actually there is, and you guys might be familiar with him, there's another tarot reader here on YouTube, Rich Lopp, who I will listen to quite frequently, actually. I kind of like his stuff. But basically, he kind of went online recently and started talking about changes in his own life where he had done a move. He had moved someplace else and everything, it felt like the whole universe was like fighting against him. And I think that's something that kind of happens to everybody. I know I'm certainly guilty of that. I just get an idea in my head and I just want the thing so badly. I just go after it. I don't care what obstacles get in my way. Well, this is your soul lesson of learning how to chill, McGill. And I feel like this feeds pretty beautifully into actually the next soul lesson we're going to get into. Really, it's more about just enjoying life, understanding that everything has a season, that you're being called to kind of just trust the current season, the current energy that you're in right now. Like there's just nothing to actually be anxious about, okay? Not really. You are okay. You are safe. And this card is about learning how to build that safety from within. So sometimes you'll hear me talk about the Nine of Cups specifically as a card. It can be a card of just wish fulfillment, but it is also a card about emotional independence. You see how just dang happy this dude is? Like he realizes he has everything he needs and more. He is not worried about a thing. He knows life is good and he's just enjoying it in this very moment. You know, we are just spiritual beings having a physical experience. You know, a lot of people think about their spirit is inside of them and it's actually the other way around. Your body is actually inside your spirit, okay? So your spirit, your energy, your soul is having a physical experience here on earth. And a big part of why would you do that? Why would a soul that can go anywhere, do anything, is eternal, always was, is, and never shall be, why in the world would you want to have a physical experience? Well, to enjoy it, baby. All right? To greet each moment with a sense of wonder, a sense of excitement, and a sense of just knowing it's all kind of fulfilling a greater purpose here. And y'all, my folks who are interested in manifesting love, notice that the 10 of Cups comes right after the 9 of Cups, domestic bliss. Because once we are in that kind of place of contentment, once we are able to really feel grateful for what is in our own lives at this moment right now, that is when we raise our vibration enough to welcome in someone else who is also content with their own life, making for a very harmonious union. Like, we only attract to us what we vibrationally match to. And if we vibrationally are content in our own life, feeling good about our own life, caring for all the little things and taking quite pleasure in the moment, then we're going to attract someone else who's also in that same kind of energy, who's living in harmony, living in flow, who is interested in building a foundation, in caring for a home, caring for another person, caring for a family. Moving on to the second thing we are meant to remember that we might have forgotten about what we promised before we incarnated here on Earth. It's number 8, dolphin codes. All right. So this is actually coming to you from my lovely Divine Codes Oracle deck, in case you're curious. But notice that this card is number 8, right? Number 8 is the number of abundance, right? So this is all about our abundant universe and how we not only have enough to survive in this universe, but we have enough for each and every one of us to thrive in this universe. Notice how many dolphins there are too. Isn't that fun? There's a lot of dolphins. And the dolphins are a playful creature, right? And they're here to welcome you into entering a joyful vibration and just giving yourself permission to play. Now, maybe you're kind of like me. This is a thought that I was having yesterday, actually, about like, I just feel like a workhorse sometimes, and it can be kind of tough, right? Sometimes you just feel like you sleep, you go to work, you eat, you work, you hang out with the family or clean the house a little bit, you go work, right? Like, sometimes we just get into these patterns where we're not allowing ourselves any fun or excitement or pleasure. Well, this is your invitation to have a good time, all right? So when we actually allow ourselves to have fun, we are lifting up our vibration, increasing our frequency. That when we allow ourselves to have fun and find excitement and joy and pleasure in life, we actually align ourselves more highly with divine love. We find harmony more in our everyday life. So it's just kind of time for you to follow your heart and trust where your heart is leading you. Abundance is actually going to follow that, okay? So if you can just kind of go after what makes you happy, what brings you joy, you're going to find that abundance follows. So we definitely see this a little more concretely in the pentacles of the tarot, right? From the 8 to the 10. So you see here in 8, we are hard at work, right? We are putting in our time, baby. He is at the drawing board in this particular version of this deck. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, he's kind of a stonemason. He's hammering his pentacles out. But this is someone who's been putting in the time, putting in the work, putting in the overtime probably too. And then we move on to 9. All right. And I feel like this is the energy we're aiming for right now. 9 is just about feeling good about the abundance you have developed here. You have put in a considerable amount of work. It's enough. Take a break. Enjoy your bird. Like, 9 of Pentacles is the card of like just happy and thriving and perhaps single, just in your own energy, right? It's about financial independence. It's about feeling abundant, about knowing you have all these resources. Like, look at this beautiful garden, right? She could just be picking these pentacles off the tree anytime she like, okay? And she's just having a nice time, right? She's enjoying herself in her own garden. Like, so in the last lesson, we looked at the 9 of Cups and feeling that emotional contentment. This is about the 9 of Pentacles is about having that physical safety, right? Feeling like you have enough and understanding that there is enough. There is plenty. You are safe materially as well. All right. And so from this sort of energy, we put in the work, we enjoy the toils of our labor, we have some fun, we get out in our garden and hang out with our pets. From there, that is how we build our legacy, okay? The 10 of Pentacles represents that long-term wealth, that long-term commitment, that long-term legacy that we leave behind, okay? It's joy and happiness and enjoying the things we can't take with us anyway. That's really our legacy here, right? That is really what we pass down to others, is learning how to be joyful after we've put in the work. Okay? So it's time to take a break. So your soul is reminding you, you came here to enjoy life. Here's our third lesson, our third soul mission that we might have kind of put by the wayside, that we came to Earth to move forward with here. That's represented by the Hag of Wildfire. Number 13, my favorite number, y'all. So this is a card of passion. This is a card of fire, right? This is about having desires and visions and embracing our emotional side, embracing our passions. Whether that passion be something that just lights your soul on fire and makes you want to build and create something new, or whether that passion is one more related to activism, knowing that things need to change in order to move forward. So not just our excitement informs who we are and what we should be doing, but also our anger does too. Our love can really light things on fire, but our desire to change things, our desire to work against the things we know are wrong, our sense of righteous anger can lead our path as well. All your emotions important, even the angry ones, even the negative ones. So this is a soul lesson about noticing what gets your passions going and following that path of passion, particularly if it is something sourced from love. All right. So I mentioned righteous anger or protective anger. Think about it like mama bear anger. Even that emotion, that passion, it's about love at its core, not just anger for anger's sake. All right, looking at some corresponding cards in the tarot, of course. We got number 13 and number 13, right? So death card sort of lining up with this. So the death card is Scorpio energy. Scorpio is Mars ruled in traditional astrology. So there's a lot of fire energy to the death card even. So death is about sort of the falling away often of an old way of being. I mean, it can literally be about death, but it's about endings more than that, okay? It's about endings so that new beginnings can happen. You see on his flag, he's got this white rose that he's carrying, right? It's allowing for ego death, right? Allowing for an old way of being to be no more so that a new way can be born. So particularly if we're talking about activism here as something that you're passionate about, you know, maybe there's something systemic that needs to kind of go. That so a new thing can be born from that. Something new can change, right? Similar energy in the Tower card too, right? Tower is Scorpio and Aries energy, so it's a Mars ruled card, and I felt like that was very appropriate with this particular Hag of Wildfire oracle card. So the Tower is about the crumbling of a foundation, right? Something completely falling apart. I like the fire in this version of the card. And so basically it is about everything kind of falling away, but it's so that something new can be built. The card that immediately follows the tarot, follows the Tower in the tarot, is the Star card. The Star card is about wish fulfillment. It is about rebuilding, having hope, having spiritual alignment once more. Well, now that we've let the old die away, now that we've taken the trash out, a new something can be built, a new empire here, if you will, with the Emperor. So Emperor is Aries energy, and I feel like this card has a lot of fire. So all Aries, Scorpio, Mars type energy is what I'm feeling here. So our soul wants us to remember that we might need to passionately do away with something old, a foundation that was faulty anyway, so that we can build new. So we can create something more feasible, more sturdy, or at least better aligned to who we are. All right, so this third lesson, that's what we're here to do. All And I hope this reading was helpful for you. If it was, please do like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. It's a huge help to this channel's growth. Thank you so much for being here today. I sincerely appreciate each and every one of you and the time you spend watching the video, engaging with the video. I do my best to try to respond to as many comments as I can. And I do hope you'll stick around for this next video right here. Thank you again for being here, and I'll see y'all next time.